Well, that didn't go as planned. Where to start with Skull and Bones? Let's say that I had high hopes for this game. I was looking forward to its release, but we all know now the development struggle it went through, and it shows at the end of the day. Skull and Bones isn't a bad game, but it isn't a good game either. It's a meh game, not worth the full price it sold at. Definitely not a quadruple or AAA game. And most of all, a disappointing product presented to us by Ubisoft, as we expected way more from them. If Skull and Bones was presented to us as a mid-tier game, fair priced with clear expectations, its reception would have been way more positive. People realized quickly with the open beta what the game was, and you can throw a lot of PR to a game before launch, but you can't polish a turd. Pardon my French. The game isn't bad in itself, it's just simple, kind of basic, and not up to the standards Ubisoft set to itself and to its community. Did I have fun playing it? Yeah, kinda. It's a mindless kind of game. You listen to a podcast and play along. It's a grindy online game, and once you reach a certain level, you feel there's not much to do except repeated activities, similar contracts and missions, and not much added content. I played the base game in the first season to complete the Platinum Hunt. And yeah, here I am at the end of it, and after completing the season pass, I didn't feel like expanding my empire anymore. Is it more of the same, really? Reaching a certain point, the economy in the game is also not well balanced, juggling from 2 or 3 currencies that aren't really independent nor interchangeable from each other, but you can't have one without the other to progress. It makes it really grindy. The game mechanics are quite repetitive after a while, and the leveling up of your arsenal hits a ceiling really fast, meaning you feel underpowered in certain situations. In the endgame, when you go for deliveries with multiple enemies on you, there is no real way to match their firepower to be more efficient. You just need to do 2 or 3 deliveries, so less enemies spawn. And the game is quite ridiculous on that front too, as if you try to avoid them, they respawn next to you, kind of in your blind spot, forcing you to some combat most of the time. The payoff of some contracts are also not worth it. Paying a minimal amount of silver, which is alright for the early game, but you need a buttload of it in late game, and there's no easier way to get it than grinding a lot. And when you hit that ceiling, well, you stop playing, because it's not fun anymore. The rewards for the time you spend in-game is not worth it. Skull and Bones has a lot of microtransactions. The good thing is that they are cosmetic only, so no real pay to win here. The bad thing is that they are way overpriced and not worth it at all. The gameplay is basic, and by that I mean there's not much to learn, not much challenge nor strategy. Graphic-wise, the game is also a letdown. Not in terms of its artistic choice, that is more in the arcade style, but in terms of texture popping, polygon building and landscape, scaling artifacts with boats, I mean, it's all pretty basic. So who is that game for then? After playing it, I feel it's a game for newer players. Simple enough to grasp the mechanics and easy to navigate open world setting. Simple in its crafting, missions and resource management. Simple in its combat and progression system. It feels like a stepping stone game, an entry-level game to an open world RPG kind of. If that kind of person were looking for a pirate team game like this, I may recommend it. When it will be greatly discounted, of course. For the Platinum itself, it's a relatively easy one. You will get most trophies just for playing. Some that you will need to get out of your way just a pinch, and 1 grindy trophy. It's an online game, but only a couple of trophies forces you to interact with other players. All the other ones are attainable on your own. So let's go. Story-wise, if I may say, you start your adventure at sea in a huge scripted naval battle that you will inevitably lose. Waking from the wreck is where the character creator pops in. It's a simple one, quite basic, and a bit clunky and low quality. You're then greeted by your new crew and find you down, and up you go sailing around. It's a right to riches adventure, and you learn the basic mechanic in that bay. How to sail, hunt wildlife, loot, and how the quest system works. After completing that tutorial part of the game, you are sent to St. Anne. And reaching St. Anne, you will get your first trophy, Mainland Pirate. St. Anne acts as your first HQ, port, or main location. There you have the usual shops for goods and cosmetics, builders and crafters for new ships and weapons, as well as various quest opportunities in the form of contracts, bounty board, and NPC interaction. It's your main port for the first part of the game. There you will also meet John Scurlock for the trophy Just Business. Talking with him, you are offered inconsequential dialogue options, and he will act as the main quest giver for the first part of the game, where you will learn more about his conflict with the Compagnie Royale and hopefully climb the ranks at his service. But first things first, we need a real boat. So we go to the shipyard and learn more about crafting and resource gathering until we can build off a ship for the trophy Ship Captain. We craft some cannons and armor for it and gain the Total Up trophy soon after. After completing some contracts, you will be introduced to the smuggler's hideout in St. Anne and get the trophy duty-free for it. There you will be able to create your smuggling empire by capturing manufactories and producing goods to export. You can start conquering the map at that stage and continue the main story as you see fit. But conquering your first manufactory will grant you the first come first served trophy. Completing the Scurlock quest, you will then be prompted to visit the West Indies and meet Admiral Rahma for the trophy Banished Admiral. She will send you on quests in this part of the map, similarly to Scurlock. Nothing too different except higher level enemies. Around that time, you will be close enough to reach the Cutthroat rank, and then the But You Heard of Me trophy. Once you're done with the quest from the two main characters, well, you're kind of done. They will give you more smaller contracts afterward, but that's it. No conclusion really, just statu quo. You can continue to level up and get chests and rewards for it, but yeah, it just fell flat at that point. Not that it was an epic storyline, just basic. The quote-unquote story being done, the rest of the trophies are mostly acquired while completing it. None of them are completed really, and only a few will require a bit of consideration. So let's go. In terms of exploration, you have two kinds of trophies. Finding the main ports or homes of the various factions and unveiling the various regions on the map. There are 6 home ports to interact with for trade or identify with your Spyglass for some trophies. By visiting all the points of interest on the map, you will eventually find them all. Interacting with Bastide will give you the home of the Compagnie Royale trophy. Finding Ankohonana will give you the home of the Clan of Fara trophy. Interacting with Tenina Town will grant you the home of the Sea People trophy. Once you get to Jiwei, you will get the home of Confederation of Ankohonana trophy. Home of Dominion of Rahma will be used once you interact with Sonic. And finally, you will get home of the Dutch Merchant Company when you discover the Houston capital. The map is also divided in 4 main regions to explore with various points of interest, and each region is divided in zones. For exploring all zones in the Red Isle, you will get the Red Isle Explorer. Coast of Africa Explorer will pop when you unlock all the zones in the Coast of Africa. Exploring the East Indies will pop the East Indies Explorer trophy. And finally, for clearing the fog of war over the open ocean, you will get the Open Seas Explorer trophy. Being an online game, of course, you will have some trophies associated with those features. But luckily enough, they are easy to get and not too reliant on other players or forcing you to win some PvP matches. Also, the server chat makes it easy to find people that want to partake in the same activities or help you for the trophies, if you ask politely enough. So those online trophies should be a breeze as long as the game is alive. The first online trophy will have you open the chat and use the quick chat command and use a ahoy for the Hello World trophy. Easy peasy. There are quite a bit of PvE events happening in the game, and you tend to get more rewards the more players are participating in those events. And the game makes it easy to group with other players for those. And having no real friendly fire, other players are generally keen on uniting. So doing so with 2 other players will pop the Pirate Assemble trophy. And even in group, you can do your own thing if you want. You're not tied up to the group leader for most gameplay. While in a group, you can decide to complete contracts with your mates or by yourself. It doesn't really matter. Some contracts are quite easy, just delivering goods or fetch quests, and completing 5 of those contracts while grouped with another player will give you the It's More Fun Together trophy. And the last online trophy will have you trade with at least 3 players. This is simple enough to do, especially in St. Anne, where you will find plenty of players going about. The good thing is that it doesn't have to be a fair trade. The other players just have to accept the trade. What I did was just finding a player ready to trade and giving them money and treasure map in exchange to next to nothing. The transaction is quick, so other players are generally keen to help out on that one. And trading 3 times will pop the Sharing is Caring trophy. In terms of collectible or gathering, there are 4 trophies for this kind of activity in Stolen Bones. 3 are easy enough and will happen as you play. And the 4th, oh my, you better start this one quite early. So the map is divided in 3 regions, if you do not count the open seas. In each region, you can harvest 3 kinds of resources: wood, metal, and fibers. And doing so in each region for each resources will grant you a trophy. Wood collector for harvesting wood in the 3 different regions. Metal collector for mining ore and metals in those 3 regions. And fiber collector for harvesting fibers in those 3 regions. Now the 4th one will have you harvest 10,000 pieces of jute. Not hard in itself, but oh so grindy. The good thing is that you can start early, as a lot of it can be found around St. Anne. But harvesting it will give you 3 to roughly 18 of them depending on the upgrade level of your tool and how precise you are with the minigame. So starting it as soon as you can and harvesting every jute you come across will avoid the endgame grind. And once you get 10,000 pieces of them, you will see the Stolen Jute trophy pop up. Naval combat is the main game mechanic in Stolen Bones, and surprisingly enough, there aren't many trophies in that category, and some of them are underwhelming in their creativity. The first one you will get pretty easily is for boarding a ship, which I'm pretty sure is part of the tutorial at some point, or the first few fetch quests. And boarding your first ship will give you the Go Overboard trophy. Now the first boat you get in the game is your dhow, which will overgrow pretty straight away. And you will want a real boat to be able to travel faster, go in the open sea, and expand your cargo. But the game forces you to switch back to your dhow for some hunting fetch quests, as you can only hunt with a spear on your dhow. So the game though has 2 stupid trophies forcing you to use the dhow for combat. The first one will have you hit enemy ships with your spear 100 times. I recommend doing it early enough to avoid having higher level reinforcement coming at you and sinking you in no time. I also suggest doing it near St. Anne, as you can go back to safety quickly and repair your boat easily. After doing so 100 times, and probably dying as many times, you will get the Porcupine trophy. Using your spear still, you will need to deal 3000 damage to towers, which is again a suicide mission. So keep moving and be sure to have an upgraded spear to make this handover faster. Once you finally deal that 3000 damage total, you will get the Inspirational trophy. Now the next 2 trophies makes more sense, and will pop most likely while playing normally. For causing a total of 30,000 damage by collision or ramming, you will get the Derby trophy. There are several classes of boats that you can identify with your Spyglass. And for sinking a privateer, you will pop the Hitman trophy. Other combat trophies may be a bit more challenging in terms of you needing to look for it or be intentional in your action. An easy one to start with will have you hide from an attacker in a safe zone. Easy enough to do in St. Anne, where you will only need to attack a boat just outside the safe zone and once engaged, retract to the safe zone. This will pop the Why Fight when returning the Shed trophy. But more likely that trophy will pop naturally as you play. Another easy trophy will have you sink a ship and leave it without loading, which is counterintuitive, but hey. Luckily, there are plenty of small merchant boats around St. Anne to do so, and then the trophy, just for fun, will pop. For the next trophy, make sure you have enough repair kits on hand, depending on your level, and choose carefully what ship you engage, as you will need to sink or board 5 of them in the open sea region without leaving it, to get the Battle Royale trophy. Might be harder to get early on, but once your ship is upgraded and you have good enough firepower, this one won't be too hard. Another trophy that is easier to get in late game will have you plunder locations during stormy weather. I didn't have to loot too hard for this one, as it popped while playing normally. You will be asked to plunder a few times during the main quest, as well as being a major mechanic in the smuggling content part of the game. So you are bound to be lucky enough to plunder when it's raining. If not, well, you will have to use patience, wait near an easy plunder, and go at it when you see the rain coming. The game is generous on what it considers stormy weather too. Once done, you will see the water party trophy pop for you. Now the next 2 trophies are a bit more technical, but nonetheless, just pop as I was playing without having to chase for them. The first one will have you destroy the flare weak point of a boat to prevent it from firing flares and call for backup. The weak points are highlighted on the various boats, so they are easy to spot. The tricky bit is hitting them straight. And for the flare one is hitting it before it fires. Luckily, you can target non-ended ship once you located the weak point and go for it. In the chaos of plundering or heavy battle, you are bound to hit one of those weak points too, and you will see the silencer trophy pop. The next one is the trickiest. You will have to sink an enemy ship while having 5% or lower HP. The game doesn't really tell you your health percentage, making it a bit harder to control, so you will have to gauge that one. That trophy might pop naturally as it did for me. Alternatively, keep engaging merchant ship that can be seen easily in the game and have low firepower, so they might help lower your HP without completely destroying you. It will be a trial and error kind of thing, but doing it around St. Anne will help with the proximity of merchant ships and the safe zone if things get dicey. Once you sink the ship, you will get the Not Today trophy. There are quite a few completion trophies in Skull and Bone, and weirdly enough, none really associated with contracts or bounties. Most are quite random too. The good thing is that you will pot most of them as you play the game, so you won't have to worry too much about chasing them, and the others are easily done. By talking with 20 NPCs, you will get the People's Person trophy, which will naturally pop for sure. By cooking 15 dishes, and those can be the simple one, you will pop the Crook Pirates trophy. For sailing 10,000 kilometers, you will pop the Magellan trophy. This will pop naturally if you don't fast travel too much. And with the price of fast traveling, you won't do it often in early game, so you will get that one rather quickly. Sinking and looting ships are the bread and butter of that game, so you will do it a lot. And not surprisingly, at some point, you will see the When We Raid It pause for looting a total of 50,000 silver worth of value. There are plenty of outposts to explore around the map, for safety, blueprints, and random loot. You will also find bonfires in those outposts that you can light up for timed stamina bonus. It's free to do, so why not? And doing it 3 times will pop the Explorer trophy. The Spyglass is a useful tool to scan ships and locations to get an idea of their loot and weaknesses. You can upgrade your Spyglass as you level up, and you will have to do so for the next trophy. As once fully upgraded, you will need to scan an object at a distance greater than 1400 meters, To get the trophy, there you are. Again, easy enough starting from far away and sailing towards your target, spyglass in hand, until you can stand said object. The next trophy will have you dead on your dhow once again and go hunting. There are deaders, shark, as well as hippos, with some variants depending on the region you are in. This one is easily achievable if you go hunting for those in each region, or by completing hunting contracts. Note that some alpha or apex variants also exist, and they are quite more aggressive and powerful. Luckily, you can find them all easily on your map, so this one should not be too grindy to get. And soon enough, you will see the poacher trophy on your screen. The next set of trophies are just miscellaneous, and you will need to chase them. They are all easy but probably won't pop naturally. The first one will have you sell all your brandy. Do this one early on in game, as you will need to sell all of it. And if you accumulate quite a bit of it, it will be a pain. Especially that you will need it for some contracts, so doing it when you have 2 or 3 bottles in your warehouse will do less damage and pop the "Why is the brandy always done?" trophy. The Man trophy will pop once you use the Thank You emote after interacting with an NPC. Easy enough, but not something you will instinctively do. Talking of NPCs, you will find in St. Anne some music players, generally in the evening at this location. Once again, use the dance emote while they are playing and you will get the "After a Long Day of Sailing" trophy. Once in the open sea in stormy weather, you are bound to come across a rogue wave. They will destroy your boat at a lower level and damage it quite a bit if you sail in a tank. Normally, you try to avoid them, but you will have to surf one of those for the "I can see my house from here" trophy. Try to get the tail end of it though, so you can sail away faster. If you're looking for one, just head in the storm direction and brace yourself. What's better than watching the stars at night on your boat? Watching the moon on land, of course. And that's what you will have to do for the next trophy, the full moon especially. Every nightfall, keep an eye out for the moon, and when you see it's at its fullest, land and stare at it for 10 seconds. If after that trophy don't pop, it may mean the moon wasn't really full, so come back the next night. And once you look at it for 10 seconds, the lunar effect trophy will pop. The last trophy of your chase sums up Skull and Bones' story and endeavor. It will have you wear an outfit worth more than 5,000 silver, which you should have by the end of the main quest, and wearing that expensive fit will pop the Rag to Riches trophy. And consequently, for us, the Platinum Pirate Legend. All in all, the Platinum experience for Skull and Bones was smooth sailing. It's not a hard one at all, if you just play the main quest and explore some of the smuggling mechanics. Some trophies are quite random and not many are tied to the main mechanics or story of the game. And apart from the Jewel Collector trophies, none of them are grindy. In a sense, it's good that the Platinum experience was relatively easy. It compensates for the lackluster gameplay and story. And even if the game is just meh, going for the plat didn't make it even more painful or unbearable. For me, the storyline and characters were quite forgettable, to be brutally honest. Apart from Scurlock and Rahma, the quest givers, the enemies are faceless, and you won't interact with any really. There's no intrigue, and most of what you get are classic pirate tropes. It's meh. In terms of mission, most of the quests are fetch quests. Go get this or go destroy that. It's quite repetitive, so you don't get Skull and Bones for the story, I guess, but more for the online gameplay maybe. The game itself, at face value, isn't too bad after playing it. It's just not marketed properly and to the wrong audience. What made it quote-unquote bad in reviews is a conjuncture of multiple things. The first letdown was the fact that the publisher released more in-depth gameplay of a pirate game in Assassin's Creed Black Flag and Odyssey. Skull and Bones is a real step down compared to those games, even graphic-wise. The second one is poor marketing or expectation management. Nowadays, there's no excuses anymore. You cannot pretend a game is quadruple A when it isn't, and release it with that label. Expectations needed to be managed, and they were not. So when people wrote their copies, they felt cheated, and rightfully so. During the development, various scopes will change, and it's okay. But being honest in the way you present a product is essential to manage expectations. Maybe you aim to release a AAA game, and things change and the scope had to be downgraded. If that's the case, publishers need to be more upfront on what the game is and isn't, to avoid distrust and disappointment. If Ubisoft had been honest and managed expectation and their marketing better, if they had been clear on the targeted audience and what the game really is, Skull and Bones would have had a better reception, because it would have been compared to similar gaming experiences. So yeah, until the game price will be slashed, you can give Skull and Bones a go. You can have fun with it and with friends as long as you know what you're in for, but don't expect too much. If you want another plat to your collection, it's an easy enough one to get. Not too frustrating and quite straightforward. So that's it for our plat review of Skull and Bones. I wish you all a great day, and I'll see you in another video. See ya!